Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In Surah Al-Mu'minun verses 1 and 2, Allah says, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ فِي صَلَاتِهِمْ خَاشِعُونَ. And the translation of these verses is, certainly will the believers have succeeded, those who humble themselves in their prayers. Now, we have spent many episodes up till now discussing Iblis and his strategies. How he tries to instill fear inside of us. He gives us wrong waswasas so that we move away from Islam. And he tries his best to make us fall in love with dunya so that we find Islam too rigid and difficult. Now, of course, this entire battle between Insan and Iblis seems a bit unfair, because although Allah has given Insan prophets and books and this beautiful route to help guide him, at the end of the day, our enemy, Iblis, is invisible. We cannot see him while he can see us constantly. And since he can always watch us, he can also continuously change his strategy to figure out what will work on us and what will not. Now that seems unfair. It's as if you're fighting a war on the battleground with an enemy that you cannot see, but your enemy can see you. Now naturally, Allah being the most merciful and the most fair already understood this. He knew that despite giving us guidance in so many different forms, ultimately this battle is going to be so tough that most of us will find it hard to resist the whispers of Iblis. So to help us, he has given us a beautiful gift, a gift that we hear 5 times a day, the Azaan. Now let me explain this. In these verses that I just recited, Allah makes it clear that the first condition for true success is to have khushu in prayers, meaning humble yourself, focus on what you're saying during the prayer and who you are standing in front of at that time. So just as a servant stands fearfully in front of a mighty king, the servant watches his actions and his words and he's very, very careful. That is what our condition should be during the prayer. So surprisingly, while we think that grades, exams, career, money, houses and cars, these things are success, Allah tells us that true success is in the prayers. But why does he mention prayers? Why not Quran? Why not Sadaqah? Why not Zakat? Why not fasting? What is special about the prayer that makes it the very first thing Allah mentions in the surah? Aflaha, which is also mentioned in the verse, means success, but the literal definition of this Arabic word aflaha is to rip open and take something out. So it's usually used for the seed, because for the plant to grow successfully, the covering of the seed that is very hard has to be ripped open, and only then can the plant come out and grow. Otherwise, the seed is dead. It's of no use. There was something good inside of it, but because it failed to rip open, nothing good will ever be able to come out. So Allah is telling us that to be successful in life, to be of some use, to realize our potential, we have to tear and rip away all our insecurities, our fears, our complexes, our love for dunya, the things that are blocking our inner fitra, and allow that good which is inside of us to come out and grow. Only then can we be successful. But how do we do that? Well, according to the verse, the answer is prayers. Prayers will help to take out that beautiful fitra that is inside of us and allow it to grow. But how? And this is where the Azaan comes in. So while we're busy in our lives running and chasing after dunya, fighting with people, committing sins, getting obsessed with music, crying over our tests and difficulties, we are allowing Iblis to win the war. So it's as if Iblis is hypnotizing us and we are slowly and gradually giving up our struggle for Islam and we're becoming ungrateful to Allah. We are chasing dunya, we are getting distracted with music and movies, and gradually we are allowing Iblis to win. We are allowing Iblis to hypnotize us. So we start doing exactly what Iblis wants. But then suddenly we hear the Azaan. And what does Allah say in the Azaan? He tells us, don't forget, Allahu Akbar, Allah is the greatest of all things. So don't make dunya into a god. There is only one God worthy of worship. Don't be unjust or unfair. Stop fighting. Stop committing sins. Don't forget there is one God, you will have to answer to Him. Then in the Azaan, He reminds us, rush to your prayers. Why? Because again in the Azaan, He tells us, rush to your falah. Now you can see that there is a similar word being used over here as was used in the verse, which means run to the one thing that will help you to tear away from your insecurities and your love of dunya, so you can put that fitrah to some good use. So imagine someone is hypnotizing you and you're slowly losing your ability to think, and suddenly you hear this loud noise that wakes you up from the hypnosis. That is what the Azaan does. Iblis is hypnotizing you, and the Azaan 5 times a day is designed to break that hypnosis. It's a wake-up call. Iblis is preventing you from growing that fitrah, and the Azaan reminds you of what true success means. And the beautiful thing is that even if you're not paying attention to the Azaan, it still enters your mind and heart. So maybe you're studying or working or socializing, you hear the Azaan, and even if you don't stop everything and listen to the Azaan, your mind registers that, oh, it's time for Zohar, it's time for Asr, it's time for Maghrib. So for a brief moment, you get distracted from dunya. Now, if you choose to go back to what you were doing, Iblis's hypnosis works. If you wind up what you're doing and you go for wuzu, you just destroyed Iblis's strategy. You just reminded yourself that there is something far more important in life and that you are more than just a student, teacher, doctor, friend, parent. You are the best of Allah's creations put here for a purpose that has to be fulfilled. Assalamu alaikum.